Right, playing against Thunder Thieves, I think they won against us last final. It's time to revenge, even though we won against them last time.
Well, we'll see if they get their revenge. I gotta personally thank Whippo for bringing us all the way to Game 5 here, because I have not liked the marksman tops. I asked him to make it an interesting series, and I am so glad he delivered.
And to talk about what Core J said, there are different types of revenge, right? Like, they beat you 3-round finals. You may have beat them during regular season. That doesn't count. Heck, like, it might not even count to beat them in winner's final. Like, it's going to help make sure they don't win again, but they still need to win a best-of-5 after this. But what a series we've had so far with the back and forth, 2-0 to 2-2.
And to me, it just feels like it's all about the draft at this point, right? Like, I've felt that 100 Thieves has made really strong adaptations. TL has been unable to do so. Their first loss, they go red side. Then they're saying, okay, no, this isn't the play. We've got to go back to blue. So I'm expecting different bans because they're back on red again. I don't think that they're going to let J4 through. I think they're going to ban Jarvan.
Yeah, and I was talking with Freak off camera about what you're going to say in between a series, like as a coach during these games. And especially when you get into Game 5, fatigue is a fairly big factor. You can't talk too much about what has happened in previous games, but you need to try and get the pulse on the series. You generally know how both teams are playing on the day. Not a huge amount is going to change in that last thing. But the last thing I'll say is if you have that thing in your deep pocket, it can be very beneficial. We were on the losing side of this when Cloud9 lane swapped in Game 5 of a final. So if there is a sick level 1 or a champion you haven't thought of yet, and you don't necessarily think the pace of the series is something you can easily counter, that will be a time to pull out that curveball.
Well, we'll see if it's going to happen here. So far, the marksman top curveball has not worked. Would be happy to see engaged, focused fighters with tanks. Yeah, TF is up, a pretty big one here. Zeri, of course, has reasonably been high priority as well, and Hansama has looked good on it. The Jarvan, all eyes on this champion right now.
I think they got to ban it. I mean, it's won every game in this series. Closer looked amazing on it, in both of his games. I think for sure 100 Thieves would first pick it. Yeah, it just makes sense. It's like going back to Red Side Game 5 and not banning Jarvan, I think would have been absolutely trolling. So now we have to find out, are they willing to actually first pick TF? It feels like the obvious choice because Bjergsen's going to take it if you don't. So they go it, and now does Bjergsen just do the Silas answer, kind of the standard play, or does he have something else? Because you have to know that this was coming. Everything feels like it's kind of going to chalk so far. And will TL, be able to kind of have their answer to it? And maybe will they draft more for 5v5 and just try to match the strength that 100 Thieves has shown us?
I think that would be what they'd want to do. So I want them to take a Felios at some point in this too, but instead they go with Xayah. It could still be a Zyra-Con setup for strong team fighting.
What's interesting is, of course, this allows you to play a safe bot laner who can always immune the
It's
TF
good against
card.
Yeah.
The level 6 gank from TF at 615 or whatever, like you won't be 6 for that one, but the second one will come through, and the cooldowns are pretty close together. So yeah, even though Zeri is up, even though Aphelios is up, Ashe is up, there's a lot of premier AD carries out there. It's actually Hansama wanting the Xayah for the bot lane pick. Volibear, I think maybe the premier early game jungler left after release in a Jarvan ban. Trundle is an option, I suppose.
Yeah, Trundle is definitely an option. Doing it this early, I feel like feels a bit harder.
Yeah.
If you're expecting a blind Ornn, though, it could have been like a nice kind of denial pick in that, because it can be incredibly strong into it. Zeri feels like probably not the pick for 100 Thieves just based on the way they're playing, but maybe they want to play a bit of a different style here now that they have TF, not go full team fight. I'm kind of expecting it to just be Aphelios, to be honest, but Zeri is going to fit better with a dive comp. So I think since the TF comes in, it's more about diving the backline, killing them off. Zeri can kind of follow up on that much better than an Aphelios. So I'm expecting more of like kind of a mid-gamey aggressive look from 100 Thieves based off their first two. And TL still have, I think, a lot of options about where they want to take their comp.
Ooh, is it going to be a Rel here as well? That'd be interesting. Rel can sometimes signal Nocturne, actually, as a follow-through later on. And so I'm curious. Okay, now it just goes to the Viego. Pretty standard option down here. Obviously, a pretty reasonable fighter.
And I think we just see a matched mid lane here, unless they really wanted to just pick Ornn, right? Like, just get Ornn off the table. But I would imagine that they would match mid lane here. Silas would be the most likely, but here's where we'll find out if they do something different. They're team fighting. They're going late game.
This is what I expect. This just feels like such an obvious answer because it is TL strength and has been for so many years, is the 5v5. 100 Thieves, of course, monsters in the 5v5 as well. But TL, when you're already looking at the first three, they're more set up for that, where 100 Thieves more need to play through sides, create early action with the TF. I just hope both teams have fun, too. That's a quality sign.
That doesn't happen in Game 5s, though.
No,
I'm sorry to say.
but you can hope it, even though it's absolutely not going to happen.
Stress out of your mind instead of that one. So again, they're going to put in the Renata Glask ban. Have seen that one banned, not picked so far in the series, but certainly respected. Rakan off the table here as well, as you know, the obvious synergy with Xayah. And yeah, we'll see, because there is not yet the hard engage, right? We haven't seen it, so Model's already gone. Banned. Leona, likely possibility. TL get first dibs, and I would expect them to go support on 4.
They should take Ornn on 4.
Yeah, I mean, I would actually really like Ornn, to be honest. I do think it makes them like very passive early, you know, with that comp, is like maybe there's nowhere for Volley to go. But they're leaving Leona up. I expect 100 Thieves to ban Leona. Otherwise, I think TL will just grab it on 4 for sure.
Yeah.
Because I do think that they need engage. They have really been struggling to find that.
Nope, Gangplank. They said, we're grabbing Ornn on 4-5, by the way. Yeah, you're saving your top lane counterpick for last. It's not going to be Gangplank.
Very interesting. You know, it's like seeing that, it just leads you to believe it's going to be Ornn, right? Like, do you not want to take that away from yourself?
I will say TF Ornn is not great as a combo because TF wants volatile lanes,
like Camille or something
and
aggressive.
Ornn creates low volatility lanes.
The only thing I would be thinking is you do Ornn because you want to play to our bot side, right? And you go for an aggressive support pick, and you try to slam through bot, you know, utilize that to stack dragons, you know, play towards a 4-core on bot side, and just say, all right, Ornn, you're AFK top. And I think that's what they're going to actually do. There's also still the chance of, if you go something that is susceptible, like if they go Graves or something here again, you just kill it with the Ornn plus TF, right? So what is the actual pick?
I like it.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Much better.
Yep, there you go.
Is that Impact?
Team Liquid and Shen, name a more iconic duo, and I'm not sure I can find one.
And it pairs very well with the Alistar. You dive in, you ult aggressively on this. You can also respond very well to TF. Another thing I personally like a lot about Shen is if TF comes to your lane, you can actually block the gold card with your W. So you have a lot of positive interactions there to help stay alive.
Yep.
I do think it's a strong pick. I do think, you know, early stages, you can lose out potentially against the Ornn, but as the game starts to go on, you can get pushed, especially if you want to build for it. You can be a side lane threat. You can go towards Titanic and things like that, and even match the TF. So I think it's a smart pick, and it's a lot. It is going to be a lot about 5v5. I think end of the day, it's like, yeah, you have some kind of splash of side lane play here with TF and maybe the Shen potentially matching on sides, but it's going to be about 5v5.
If Shen lands his early taunts and he can get the Q to pass through Ornn, he destroys him early game. I saw this matchup 50 times with Impact when he played Shen as like a pocket pick into Ornn. It's very effective when played well.
Game 5, let's go! Who will be our first team in the LCS Grand Finals? One of these teams wins it here today and books that trip and waits on Sunday for who is worthy to fight them. 100 Thieves 2 in a row. Team Liquid let it slip, but they've gone back to what has worked for them. Strong team fighting, a tanky man in the top lane for Bwipo.
And they also are letting Bwipo be Bwipo. That's something, they're with him to the end is what it definitely feels like here. So yes, they have gone with more scaling. You see that in more of the Corki and the Xayah picks, but with how good some days Ornn was the last 2 games, how he 3-0'd C9 with Ornn, the logical pick would have been
Ornn.
You just take Ornn. You're up against a TF, it's also gonna be stronger team fighting late game, but they say, nope, we've counterpicked it with Aatrox, we've counterpicked it with Graves. Now it's time to throw out yet another counterpick and really kind of betting the series on it, because I think it would have been very easy to take Ornn on 4 and then give CoreJJ a support counterpick. But instead, they blind CoreJJ support, give Huhi bot lane counterpick, which is what 100 Thieves wants, and they give 100 Thieves the Ornn.
I really like the Shen, because I do think one of the nice things about this that Ornn doesn't bring for you is that you can answer TF in the side lane later, right? Like, you can be the person to match. And that's something that's a lot more difficult for Ornn to do, because you only have the teleport. Shen has the double globals to actually match. So, you know, if that is the plan, I think it makes a lot of sense. If you look about this game, you know, at some point, assuming things go relatively even in the early stages, it's going to be a 1-4 split for both teams, right? And the 4-man squad for TL, I think, is really, really powerful. I think it's actually much more powerful in that 4v4 than potentially what 100 Thieves have. So, Shen, I think, pretty smart answer here.
Little pulverizer core JJ to get a slightly better trade up against Huhi, but the bot lane push does belong to 100 Thieves. Unlikely Alistar can sneak in those 2 kills to get the level, but not sure just yet. Until Hansama gets his next level, he's not going to get anything going on either. Can't get the root, so yep. Lane belongs to 100 Thieves. FBI pretends he wards up there, but says, you're not going to go for me.
It is also worth noting that it's going to be lethality from Hans, almost guaranteed when you see Airy. You know, it is going to be that route. So the heavy lifting on this Ornn is going to have to be done very likely by Bjergsen. He's going to have to be the one. But quick level 2, going to be feeling really good about that. You just have to avoid the brittle procs. That's like the key thing on the Shen side of this matchup is, you know, either W the brittle auto or just be able to back off from it because that's how the Ornn can kind of whittle you down. But if you're able to avoid that, if you're able to get the pull throughs, as you say,
dodge.
Really nicely timed.
Yep. You hit W, okay, I'll hit W a second later, and hey, that one's still going my way.
And if you have really good reactions like Bwipo does and you're playing on low ping, you can literally just do it reactively on the auto animation,
sure.
You know, because there is kind of that wind up on the brittle smack that makes it a little bit more obvious. It's the clap. The auto is different, so it is one of those things that's pretty big about Shen. You know, all Shen players, a lot of these matchups that you're going to run into.
Nice knock up. Not in tower range, but still gets good damage, of course. As long as the brittle is on, an auto or a spell that does CC will do the % health damage, so gets a good trade out of it. And he's like, I dare you to try this. Yep, hits him back, takes turret shot for it. That is a bait, and someday wins that mind game.
And
Still, early shove does give the CS advantage to the Shen. He's going to have to recall on this one and possibly have to burn the TP early, but you can see exactly how that early lane plays out. On one side, you're watching the brittle from the Ornn. On the other side, you're watching the sword from Shen, and there they're going to FBI.
Oh, FBI's going to die. He stays in the lane. Core doesn't even need to flash, just finds his target, and now Bwipo takes in the fight. The dodge zone means no damage.
Yeah, no, somebody actually missed the W there.
Yeah.
It went the wrong way. If he had connected with that, I think you can actually follow and you kill him with a grasp auto potentially with the brittle there, or at least force his flash. But yeah, I think, you know, we didn't get the full layout of what happened bot. My assumption is he thought Core JJ based and was matching roam timers from Huhi. And if you think it's just an isolated 1v1 and both supports have left the lane, then all of a sudden, the surprise, he pops out of the brush, you get that kill. Was a very nice thing. I mean, Core is famous for his roams top and really known to love that first base, 5 boots, go top. And we'll see if he does that now on the delayed base.
And let's think back to game 1 of this series. When Huhi died at level 1, Hansama got the first blood in that bottom lane, and TL just kind of won the game off of it. They used that bot power to get first dragon, they then had first move towards Rift Herald, they got the Rift Herald, they broke the first turret, and they never let 100 Thieves back in the game. Getting FBI's flash and getting the first blood onto Xayah could be a huge move for TL in this series.
Bjergsen wants to get his recall off. He is out of mana entirely. Abbedagge gonna just, you know, shove the wave down as fast as possible. Gets the extra damage to the caster, so you can kill them a little bit faster next time he gets item on the board. Bjergsen will just take the wave under his turret here, so yeah, it's gonna be Abbedagge getting his first look if he wants it. Off he goes.
It's not a cannon wave, so it's not a big deal. You can just farm it up base. He'll probably have to match TP, but not too much of an issue there. A farm pretty heavily, though, in Bwipo's advantage. Has been doing a really good job, you know, avoiding all those brittle procs, playing it out really well.
And back in the lane, yeah. So yeah, it does burn the TP for hard tempo. Of course, it is a cannon wave here. He would have dropped maybe 1, maybe 2 CS on the way out, but by doing this, he is out of materializers, so he doesn't kill the cannon fast. Bjergsen's gonna end up burning TP anyway.
And not a big deal for Bjergsen, really just trying to hold farm. The bot lane kill will not be snowballed into first dragon, partially I think because Abbedagge's TF is just pushing in Bjergsen's Corki, so first dragon, always a good thing for 100 Thieves to pull.
Yep.
And Bwipo is now 6, so both TPs are down on the top side. So, you know, as long as you are not going to get interrupted by the Ornn, there is that possibility of joining cross map. And you know, even if it gets interrupted, you still get that shield. So 100 Thieves are going to have to play it pretty safe on the bottom side. Really pay respect to what the Shen can do unless someday, you know, has the ability to lock him down.
Blocks the auto.
Every
See,
time.
yeah, you mentioned, you know, waiting for it, and this time he did, and blocks that one out. Santorin gonna spot, control ward in the brush. Okay, that's mine. Doesn't know for sure if the jungler was there. I don't think he actually checked that brush with it, but not likely to be the case. And it's gonna be the recall coming out now from Closer. FBI dashes back in the lane, taking pretty fast resets. A little bit of poke, doesn't really matter too much. Looks like top scuttle may be controlled. With Ornn down there, it's a possibility.
And you can see this is the second time we've seen Huhi roaming over towards mid, helping to fix that wave. You know, they're trying to make sure that Bjergsen doesn't get into any sort of a position where it's going to be awkward for Abbedagge. They want to unlock him on the map. And you can see him cheating out towards topside. You know, could try to look for some sort of an aggressive play potentially. But for now, just covering this topside scuttle take. But anytime TF goes out of vision post 6, you've got to pay that respect. So Shen is going to have to play a little bit more defensively now, you know, in that 1v1. And especially if you use your W to actually avoid a barrel proc, and TF is missing, well, all of a sudden, you don't have any answer for the gold card.
Follow through.
Does seem like the volatility in the top lane has definitely not been that high, though.
No.
Since the last time Whippo has gone to base, just slowly accruing that CS advantage. And that's generally advantage TL, because if he's sitting there at full energy with a pushed wave, it's very easy for him to counter a TF gank into another lane.
Yeah, you're pretty much forced to attack the Shen, but that's difficult. You know, if he's not trading aggressively, if he's full health, if he has the parry zone available, it makes it tough, because you do kind of have to either overwhelm a lane completely where you think you can win even if the Shen does show up with that ultimate, or you have to attack the global. Merc Treads, I think, going to be incredibly high value on both sides. There's a lot of CC, you know, from both teams, a lot of point-and-click CC as well. So, you know, that CC reduction is going to be important. Like Legend Tenacity, Merc Treads, Unflinching, all going to have really high value in this game.
And of course, 100 Thieves are only 2 AD, and even at that, like, you know, Zeri does, it's about a third magic. Like, it's still largely physical, of course. You know, don't want to, she's not like an almost AP champ by any means, but
TF builds that rapid fire cannon. You got a little bit of AP.
Yeah, great, sure, the auto attack.
Interesting, like the damage splits, because sometimes it differs a little bit in pro based on how things are played out. But last time I looked, it was like, you know, 37, 38%. So it was a significant amount of magic damage, but, you know, not enough that you're going to care to itemize against that, of course.
Of course. Either way, and of course, Viego can be part of that one, but yeah, certainly meaningful to block magic damage primarily, I feel like. Or at least, I mean, at least, you know, the Merc Treads being very valuable because, you know, you're not super in need of Steel Cap.
I will say this bottom lane is going very, very well for Team Liquid, especially if they get this third plate, which they do with all the gold going to Hansama. He's now 800 gold up on FBI. And when you think about the way 100 Thieves kind of played the whole year, they had that very, very slow start. And I think part of that was because they were playing all these different styles and we're kind of not finding ways to close games. The way they win most of the time is with FBI getting strong.
He's going hard. Ult for the slow, and Bjerg's going to be here in range as well, but no stuns up means he gets out. Abadaga counts the cooldowns. No, he's got it. And able to take the recall.
Well played to escape there from Abadaga, but really at the end of the day, you traded flash for flash and ult for ult, which is so in the favor of Santorin. Because now TF doesn't have any pressure on the map because you're down ulti, you have no TP, you don't have to worry about this guy at all. You can go back to playing aggressive.
And think about how the game is isolated now. So the Xayah has just finished Eclipse, so Mythic advantage onto the Zeri. You have Shen, who's able to perma-push the Ornn and can be even more aggressive now that TF ult is down. And with no flash in mid lane, Bjergsen's also free to push. So the game is just in a static state where TL can outfarm all three lanes and possibly set up to get this Mountain Drake.
I will say, though, is the neutral objectives have gone 100 Thieves' way. They've even got bottom scuttle in there, but the first dragon and the Herald currently being held by Closer, so they can see some gold go back. Yeah, none of these turrets are low, right? It's 5 full plates. It's maybe one auto attack has landed on that bottom turret, but you know, some gold come back. Maybe you get lane pressure. Maybe even cross map if it's TL who goes to the dragon.
Yeah, and the teleport timer for Someday is going to sync up just right with that dragon spawn. It's got about 20 seconds left before it's there. However, he did just walk back to lane, so he's not going to want to teleport down right away. I think the Shen ult option to be able to also teleport back into top lane more really benefits TL in this scenario.
The damage dodge zone comes in after the brittle, actually, and Someday ultimately going to just fight for the wave right now. Of course, reasonably similar items, maybe a bit better on Someday's side, but they're going to keep trading back. Dodge zone is down, gets the knockup, pretty good. Now gets taunted for the grasp, and yeah, Whipple's feeling pretty comfortable in this one. Gets the health bar down pretty low. And finally, Herald will be summoned for the mid lane. And this will give mid pressure first, but I believe Bjergsen's holding on a package. Burns it here. Ult to get the safety, not bad, but Close is still forced to run away. Has to flash to stay alive. Stun's gonna land, and that could be enough. Will be Whipple going down. It's gonna be a knockup. It's gonna be a lot of CC. Will there be a chain kill coming across? Zeri's looking to find some damage. Abadaga just barely walking away, but he's gotta get the pullback. No, the cooldowns are missing, but Hansama lands a snipe. FBI wants more. He wants to find Core JJ, but he can't get the shots in just yet. He finally gets the chain lightning. Gets the bounces, needs to cut it away, should be holding his E, should be able to dodge any hard CC. Whippo doesn't have flash to make it scary, and ultimately will not find that taunt.
What a ridiculously close fight. Off the back of it, it's a lot more health left in the tank for 100 Thieves. They could go towards this dragon. It should be theirs. So it is the one kill for TL. But end of the day, I think it kind of works out in 100 Thieves' favor here ever so slightly. Bwipo might have gone down, but he had the parry zone to actually block the Leona Q, so that couldn't follow up after the Zenith blade, and that allowed him to get to safety.
I think it just makes the game all the more tense because 100 Thieves now has the second Drake, but they lost the gold trade. They're going to lose it even more in the fact that Bwipo could just return a top lane, even held his TP to go back. But watching this one more time, like TL was very willing to defend this mid turret because they were at a strong point knowing they had the Shen ult. Maybe blow everything a little early, right? That Shen ult was more for mobility and actually puts Bwipo in harm's way. And then you just see all the health bars go extremely low. For a second, I thought no one was going to die.
Yeah, I mean, they got shook down very low. FBI doing a good job, though, fighting from the side here, poking people out, whittling down those health bars. Abbedagge gets taken down by that Q from Hans, and born for that slow from Santorin, maybe FBI could have gotten a little bit more damage down, but very close game here, all things said.
And I'm not sure if I favor 1200 gold or if I favor having 2 dragons that gives you outs, right? If you can have another fight like that where it's close but you're up in health, nice job, gets his E backwards in time. It was a long-range taunt, so pretty reliable there. No turret shots.
Bwipo has been very protective of his teleport there. He could have just teleported back, saved a plate in half, but instead is holding it possibly for 14 minutes to make a play around Xayah.
Exactly. He wants to make the cross-map play. I mean, this is the big advantage of Shen, is that you have the double global, right? So if you match TP with your ulti and then just TP back to lane, then you don't have that cross-map pressure. Just by holding on to that TP, it is going to put a lot more pressure on 100 Thieves. It's going to keep them nervous. And as you said, it's going to be unleashed here at about 30 seconds. So if you can find a deep ward, if you can find some sort of flank, you can maybe get a lot more out of that. Because at the end of the day, the gold between the Ornn and the Shen is not going to be what decides this game, right? You give over 160 gold to the Ornn, who cares? But if you can give that up and potentially get a kill or a double kill for one of your carries, utilizing your TP towards bot, that could win you the game.
I'm gonna find himself a knockup. Go for a bit more of a play here, but yeah, ultimately these people are trading blows back and forth. Now, with Sunfire you just done, his damage does actually spike right here, so fights look a little bit better.
It's just hard to actually ever threaten 100 to 0, right? Like, you die so slowly that generally all that happens in this matchup, unless you're massively ahead, is that you get someone chunked down and then they leave, right? It's never like, he killed me from 80 to 0.
Yeah.
It's he slowly whittled you down and then you're like, the next round of spells might be in trouble. I'm going to leave. I'm going to give up some farm. But they are trading heavily to try to create those small edges.
And I think the most important gold in this game, when you're talking about it not being decided on the Ornn or the Shen, it's the Corki and the Xayah, and probably Zeri. Like, Zeri's the one who can carry the game for 100 Thieves. I think Abbedagge, while he can be effective, hasn't made huge map plays yet. It's really about whether FBI can dart around these fights, or if Bjergsen and Hans Sama can just shred through frontline.
And it's worth noting, I was talking about, okay, Bjergsen has to kill frontline. He's not going the Ludens build. He's one of the only guys this year that I've seen actually go for the on-hit build. Even a while ago, when everyone was doing Ludens, he still did a shield bow, on-hit crit build. And that's what they're looking for here. Bwipo's gonna have to time that W well.
It's a knock up there, 3v1 top side. He's got no way out. The dodge zone comes in. He finds a taunt in turret range. Summoner Heal keeps him alive, and they find the one for nothing.
It looked like he actually could have killed him, thought it was going to fall down, and then the Summoner Heal from Abbedagge kept him alive.
Yeah.
I think he had the trade kill there if he goes for it.
That was so close. He played it really well in the 1v3, almost got it. But I just didn't have track of the heal, I think, on Abbedagge. As you say, maybe could have gotten one last auto in. But down on bot side, they trade for this. They get the tier 2 solo gold onto Bjergsen. That is more valuable than what 100 Thieves got on the top side with split gold and that one kill.
They did get to summon the Herald and at least knock down mid turret, so Closer able to put that one in. So if you just look at the objectives going, okay, it was 2 towers to 1 and everything else, but yeah, I mean, good by Bjergsen, right? That it's a high value tower. It's an 800 gold tower. Top and bot tier 2 are worth more than others. So yeah, the man is rich. He's on the way to Manamune, on the way to likely shield bow. I haven't seen anything but shield bow, but you got him got nerfed, so who knows?
And look at his CS. 192 at 16 minutes, as well as getting all of that solo turret gold. He is accelerated. We have to watch this one more time, though. So does time his W fairly well after the CC, and we'll check to see if he could have gotten the last auto.
I think he didn't have his W when this first happened. Otherwise, he would have used it on the gold card. They have the knockup. They have all the CC. And then they think they have the kill. Now the W comes up, I think, off cooldown and survives at the very end, gets a taunt.
2.
He
has over 100 health. I don't think the last auto would have killed him, but it would have been really close. It's hard to know.
I think it was empowered from the Q. I think it would have gotten him.
Yeah, he might have. It's very, very close there. But either way, I think he just didn't calculate for the heal from Abbedagge, the spellbook heal, making the difference there.
Yeah. The CC chain was good, right? The knock-up landed from Sunday crashing in the tower, and if you don't put dodge zone up for the knock-up, it was chain stun until you saw him cast it. Like, even if it was up, if he didn't, you know, put dodge up for the charge, it was nothing to do. So well done there, 1 for nothing. 800 gold difference, 600 gold difference.
This is huge, though.
The play there. Stun's gonna land. Hansama gonna cleanse it away. Bjergsen gonna package for safety, pushing Huhi back and putting a lot of damage down there as well. Santorin now kind of stuck in the front line. Takes a bit of poke. TF gets a lot of vision. Abadaga yet to get across the map. Now gonna look for a flank angle.
Yeah, TL really need this dragon, otherwise the Soul's way too fast. They're in position, but they need to be able to ward off 100 Thieves' approach.
They have so much poke, it's really hard for 100 Thieves to approach.
It's tough right now. We're gonna see a little bit come out of the Zeri for FBI. He's still holding on to his ultimate, but there aren't a lot of engage tools left, so when do they get in? Because Corki can, of course, spam rockets. Core JJ with the wings, does not have his own ulti. He's squishy. Ooh, he gonna Hex flash over. 900, Bubba pushes them out. That's really well done. Zeri comes in, knock up there as well. One dragon picked up. Will there be an engage? He's gonna lose his life by trying to start the fight. He gets killed, he gets shut down. And that is nothing doing for 100 Thieves.
You get a really good preview of how this game might be playing out. You saw how much poke TL had to keep 100 Thieves away from that game, and also how they're able to disengage the initial assault before that dragon was even started. Gold going into all the right places for TL and stopping that Dragon Soul from stacking up puts them in a strong position.
Yeah, it's a really big deal. It's just so tough. You know, if TL gets inside Drac, if they're on Dragon first, to actually walk through Corki Poke and the Xayah Feathers, because this lethality Xayah, you get high CDR, you're constantly throwing out your Qs, you're leaving those feathers on the ground, and if you overextend into them, you're gonna get just absolutely torn up. So they have to be on point with that engage, but when TL is able to disengage the initial part of that fight, there's not a lot of ways in for them.
Onto the Zeal next, probably rapid fire cannon here for the Corki. So Bjergsen, yep, still going towards an auto tech build, help them get through the Ornn a bit faster and get through the Leona, kill frontline. And so far so good, obviously has incredible farm, now up 213 at 1845.
And the 2 TL carries are very close to actually completing their tier stack here.
Yeah.
You know, that is going to be a big power spike, you know, for the Xayah, for the Corki. Corki almost guaranteed. It's rapid fire into IE fourth, you know, pretty much. Should be, you know, full lethality for Hans. You know, maybe going into a Last Whisper next. This role does, I think, makes a lot of sense when you are going to be hitting, you know, Ornn, Viego already have some armor. There's going to be Azonias coming through for Abadaga. There's already Tabbies on Huhi. You know, the armor pen, I think, is a strong third buy.
And looking a little bit more at the gold distribution, like, yes, Bjergsen is 1,400 gold ahead of Twisted Fate, and Hansama is 1,000 gold ahead of FBI.
Oh, flash taunt as well, but Flo's able to get back with his own flash, saving his ultimate, actually, in case he needs the damage for a re-engage. Not going to happen, though. So flash for flash, both junglers lose that button.
Another close fight, but what I was going to say is Closer actually needs to be the one that pulls out some big plays. He's been fairly silent when you compare it to the Closer Viego of the 2021 playoff series. And, like, it's so difficult, but if he can find a way to combo up with TF or be in the flank when Ornn comes in, like, he's the one that needs to get the fatal damage on Xayah or Corki.
And so much of it is getting that first kill for Viego. When you think back to finals, you know, in summer, it was all about these skirmishes in River where they get that one kill, he'd take over the fight with multiple spells. They're diving.
Hold they want, and will they have it is the question. Viego is dead. Shotgun down instantly. They're gonna get out, but Corjay has no ulti. Knockup means one hit will kill. The flash chase down. He doesn't have the damage, has to jump right back out. And they find the top, they find the CC. There's 2 kills. Looking for a third. The turret has been turned off. 100 Thieves been pushed away, but there's not enough dive. They'll get Santorin back. 2 for 1, Team Liquid.
Such a big fight. Team Liquid, even though they lost Santorin, are still able to break that turret. A huge win for them in this game.
Yeah, that is massive. Someday going deep to try to finish off Core JJ. Even spends the flash after the ulti. Dies for it. That is really punishing. FBI, I think, has been positioning well in these fights and getting out a lot of damage, but he's just tickling them. It's taking him so long to actually get through all of what TL has here. So they're posturing aggressively. They know the wraparound is about to come in. Flash combo, taunt to follow it up, Volibear Q to follow that up. No chance to move whatsoever. Buy your Merc Shreds.
Taunt stun root. Someday thinking he had the fatal damage right here, does not. And then the follow through from Whippo. If TL was going to do this fight again, they would have actually stopped right there. But they think they can get more, turn off the turret temporarily, but then gold card stun gives one back for 100 Thieves.
Flash auto would have killed. I believe the second ult will still reapply Brittle, so you get that one with the chase down. Whip was pretty happy how that one went. Obviously, Core JJ living. But a close one here. But gold is ballooning. Team Liquid, you can see 2,800 is their gold, and that's against a TF who prints money out of his passive. So in earned gold, it's actually more like 3K and change.
Yeah, and it's ballooning in the right places for Team Liquid. 10,000 gold for Bjergsen, before 22 minutes. About to hit 10,000 gold on Hansama. Crazy you see the guy with 4 kills, but he actually has less gold than the mid laner who's gotten so much solo
Look at his
turret
farm.
gold.
This is just insane too. He's 40 CS past 10 CS per minute.
Yeah.
He has been farming like 12 CS per minute plus the whole game. It is actually ridiculous. You're not missing any farm, and you're getting jungle camps or stealing away jungle camps or taking stack waves. But he has absolutely been maximizing, and he's going to have his rapid fire for sure on that base, and he's got package. So 3 items, package. There's no shot you can really fight this, I think, as 100 Thieves. I think this is so dangerous to fight a 3-item Corki with package at this point in the game.
Well, you gotta get ult to safety. Package doesn't find the crowd control, but they might get the rest anyway. Guardian Angel popped. Is the re-engage good? Corki has the ulti on. He's low.
They got
Over
stuns.
the wall. Is it gonna be enough? Gets a knockup on a 3. The chase down. The double knockup looking for the Volibear ulting away. Corki is down. And now Whippo could be next. He's slow. They get the chase. They're gonna get 2. And it's just too much. You don't want to fight a 3-item Corki, but he delivers himself on a silver platter. Like the quality of that play.
Man, they were going in to try to kill off closer. Abadaga was so huge, plus the GA. Abadaga ults into the Raptors pit and over the wall finds a rapid fire gold card, and then the Everfrost to follow it up. All the CC comes through. 100 Thieves turn that around off the back of the GA.
they're doing both.
Close it. They want Baron.
They're going to be going straight for Baron, so we might not be able to go through this replay if they decide to turn for this. Good chunk by
They're not gonna start it.
Hansama.
No way, it's too late.
I mean, Whippo's down. Bjergsen has no TP, no package. They could at least maybe get a 4v5.
They want at least TP, I think, from Whippo. If they commit to this,
Kuhi
this
has
is
flash.
so
I
risky.
think Kuhi's trying to catch a squishy coming to check in.
They know Volibear, ulti list,
Just back
might have
Yeah, they
flash.
want the TP,
They get
that's
the TP.
That I think is really smart. If you're not just going to commit to it, you get the TP off of Whippo there, because Whippo just used Shen ult. So now he actually has no ability to play side lane, so he's down on those globals right now. And he is going for the Titanic, which I really like as a build. If you want to play sides, it also really does ramp up your damage. If you get the pull through Q on a fight, the Titanic damage is really threatening on carries on 2 items. So going to be able to get that out. 100 Thieves now, they're sitting at soul point. They are really closing in the gold. And in this kind of a composition where it is, you know, a lot of team fighters, a lot of front to back, Ocean Soul is enormous. We can watch this one more time.
Yeah, so originally Team Liquid is feeling extremely strong because they will win a well set up 5v5, but they don't get the cleanest initiation. They burn everything onto a Guardian Angel, and then watch the
Look at
CC lock
Abadaga.
on Bjergsen. Gold card, Everfrost, into Ornn Brittle application, airborne, into yet another knockup. Bjergsen really could not move. By the way, gold card comes in once again. Double gold card in the whole CC lock. And this is one sneaky thing about Twisted Fate. A lot of people will think that Twisted Fate, if he doesn't snowball side lanes, you can't win the game with him.
The
he
pick is huge.
has so much team fight power when used correctly. And Abadaga was able to apply the CC onto the main carry of TL twice to get the shutdown and win the fight.
And so much of it was the clever angle he approached from, right? If you're trying to walk past the Alistar and the Volibear and the Shen, it's never going to happen. But finding that ult to find the angle over the wall there, catching Bjergsen was great. Someday had the perfect follow-up. And Someday is going Warmogs. I love Warmog's second on tanks. I think it's super underrated. When you're against a poke-heavy team like Corki, you're now immune to their damage. You just walk in, you tank it up. If you have to answer sides, you just spend your health to protect the tower from the Shen, and then you're back to full health on every single wave.
I also got to say, what a perfect Game 5. Like, both teams have made adaptations.
close.
This is probably the closest game we've had of the series. It was looking like it was going to be one-sided for TL until that mid lane fight gets turned around by the juking of Closer and the follow-up of Abadaga's TF. And now it's Soul Point is super scary for 100 Thieves to acquire. But TL also still an extremely strong team fight, and they got a 3-item Bjergsen. IE is going to be next. The scaling and the kind of the ticking time bomb is still there. It's going to be a hell of a finish.
I'm gonna grab Scuttle. It's gonna be 100 Thieves still with mostly map control. 2 minutes till Dragon, so that's gonna be a while away. We know Baron is on the table though.
I knew he was kind of talking about it in his interview, you know, saying he thinks it's going to come down, you know, to the mechanics, to the execution in these fights, in these skirmishes. And in this 5th game, it doesn't feel like there's a major compositional advantage for either side. It feels like they both have the ways to win. It's going to come down to the execution. And that's really the way it should be, you know, in an upper bracket final like this. 2 of the best teams in the league going head-to-head, trying to guarantee themselves a spot in the grand finals.
So crazy. 2 splits in a row going to Game 5 in upper bracket
crazy.
finals. Also, 2 splits in a row where their academy teams meet in Proving Grounds finals. Swapping results there.
And
it's turned into quite a
I'm
rivalry.
gonna say, 100 Thieves really does deserve credit, for being able to kind of break into this upper echelon of teams, the old guard teams that have perennially been making finals. They have proven that it was not a fluke. They made it to finals. They won finals last time. Here they are again.
Yeah.
Throughout a lot of the season, we weren't looking at them as a title contender because they hadn't been playing up to the level that they showed us in summer, but they stepped up massively in the later weeks of the regular season. They're showing again that they're not to be messed with here. 5 games against TL.
Yep.
They 3-0'd C9.
I mean,
They're here to play.
Get your team who can do both, right? Hoodie org and finals org, right? Like, they're winning on the Rift, off the Rift. Like, the whole thing's working well for them. It's nothing but kudos here. The defending LCS champions and 100 Thieves have come alive at the right time. The end of the split looked good. Playoffs have been pretty solid so far. 3-0 against Cloud9. Looking okay here in Game 5 on Soul Point, but we can look back on Team Liquid. They're the ones with setup first. They're the ones with mid push.
100 Thieves are trying to threaten a trade, right? They're saying, okay, we have Soul Point. You must go to Dragon. If you overcommit to Dragon, we will start Baron. But the answer to this is always, to me, send one person to solo Dragon and the 4 respond, and you try to poke them off. But 100 Thieves are just starting it up.
And it's on Vision, so they know. Shen could always just solo Dragon and then, but they're going to pull the fight right now. And they don't know that ward is there. They never swept it. They don't know what's going on. Huhi is going to be in fog. That's useful. Half health now on the Baron. What's the engage look like? Finding a first gold card. Decent poke on a Santorin, but now he's between that cooldown. Close are going to push back now, actually.
That's all they needed.
Yeah, they lost even more health on this.
Yeah, and now it goes a little bit bad for 100 Thieves because now the inside track, Bjergsen's just going to go straight over to Dragon. He's going to solo that up. So they're going to do what I was talking about, have 4-man guard this, but they're trying to force their hand. They want Bjergsen to TP. They say, you're not here. We're going to finish this.
He will burn it. The TP's going to come in right afterwards. That's Dragon. That's no soul right now for 100 Thieves. Will there be the team fight, though? TFO comes in. They spot everyone. TP burned. Will there be a team fight, though? When's it going to happen? FBI playing to the edges, playing to the front line. Feathers get pulled back. That's one major cooldown missing. They don't take the fight just yet. Recalls are coming through Abadaga. He's on Vision. He's got to be careful. The whole team's the brush, though. They're all in the brush, though. And here comes the engage. CoreJJ finds several. Naga comes in, though, from the Orin as well. The Horn comes across onto 3. They're going for more. Who he wants on Sama. And they've knocked down Core. 100 Thieves 1 for 0. Someday finds a second. They got 3. They're getting 4. 100 Thieves come alive. And Bjergsen's left alone. Bjergsen's left to die. 100 Thieves crush Team Liquid.
They're pinging mid right now instead of going for Baron. They might think they can end.
They're going to try to win the series right here, right now. We'll see if they have the time to do it or if they're just going to try to get an inhib and go back to Baron. The timer's 30 seconds on Hans, 35 on Bjergsen. It's a long time. They're positioning forward.
They're saying inhibitors at least. They've got a cannon. They've got a double wave otherwise. They're getting at least this turret, at least the inhibitor. Now the first respawns are coming in right now. 15 on the Shen, 15
They're positioning forward. They're
on
going to go to the
Zaya.
end. Look at Someday. He's walking forward
20
here.
seconds on Bjergsen still. They got a long time.
And they're going in. Here we go. Turret number 1 in under a lot of fire. This respawn still are not yet in.
Buffalo's up in 2.
4 seconds away. This is the fight right now. Turrets are up, dropping.
Hans is up.
4v5. It's going to be enough. 4v5 is it is the question. Zonya's
Shut
pop.
down.
Zeri's down. FBI drops. CoreJJ the same though.
up.
And now they've got a pet Alistair. And guess what? That's going to be a lot of damage when he loses the GA. And they're going to defend. Abadaga doesn't have a good way out. He's got flash, just barely gets away from the Shen. But how about this Bjergsen chase? How about TP coming in from Whippo? Shuts down Huhi. And he wants to chase down to the TF now as well.
And they're going to lose so much more than these kills. They're going to lose the Baron themselves. And now 100 Thieves trying to go for that. He's going back to the base.
Go back.
Oh, the TF will descend onto the Nexus. The recalls are coming in. Will it be in time? Abadaga realizes he may not have it. He's got to run away, but doesn't stop the Baron. Zaya's on one side. Corky is on the other. And does he have a way out?
Somebody's going to defend him. He's defending the exit here. It is still going to be a TL Baron. That was a gutsy call. Man, if he had Lichbane.
Oh, he might die.
What
Fuck.
insane sequence of events. How close can this series get?
Oh my God, what a game 5! This is incredible. 100 Thieves pushing TL to the limit there. The last second respawns, barely allowing them to defend. Oh my God, man, that's crazy.
So let's take stock.
Yes.
First off, 100 Thieves positions in Baron.
First off.
Right, positions the Baron to stop the Ocean Soul. Team Liquid blocks that, but then they chase to try and kind of win the game there, but they get 5 for 0'd in a team fight. 100 Thieves makes that gut call of do they have enough time or don't they? They don't quite have enough time. Would have to watch that fight again to see if they miss CC'd or miss cooldowns or if they could have bursted. But do not kill the Nexus, and really everything ends up backfiring for them with that call, because they could have taken full control of the game, gotten Baron slow pushed. Instead, Baron goes to Team Liquid.
Here's
but
the
they
thing,
do get
though.
the Nexus.
It's an open Nexus,
Yeah.
right? Like, if I'm TF, forget the needlessly large rod. Buy a Lich Bane
They have a ward?
and threaten the back. He doesn't need it. He can ult, right? Like, his ult is almost up here.
Baron recalls definitely make it harder to backdoor.
For sure. Not right now, but I'm just talking about throughout the rest of the game. Like, TL basically always has to have someone at their base, right? Like, if an inhibitor is down, he can end the game with the Lich Bane on an ult in. So that is definitely very scary now for TL, and they're going to be somewhat pinned into their base because of it.
The big thing is the 30-second window between Baron buff ending and inhibitor respawning.
Yeah.
Soloing inhib plus Nexus, not really realistic. You can TP to one of the top or bottom lane towers. Otherwise, there's no TP targets in the base unless you get lucky with minion spawns. So that little window right there is I'm not gonna be like, we go in and you got a hard recall to make it happen.
And you've basically got to make the judgment now. If you're on 100 Thieves, you have to say, all right, guys, do we win 5v5? If you think you win 5v5, you don't need to risk it on that type of a play. If you believe you no longer win 5v5, then that's the kind of play you set up for. You no longer are looking to actually win the team fights. You're giving up dragons, and you're trying to play for a backdoor. And that's a tough call to make.
Yeah, I mean, let's place our bets. I don't think 100 Thieves wins 5v5s. They can, but I think if you're thinking about front to back, they don't, only because of the 4-item Corki and the 4-item Xayah. However, we did also just see them win a 5v5. If the fight gets spread out enough and they can get closer into the access points to get Bjergsen or Hans Sama, they do. But I think that situation happens more if they continue to stretch Team Liquid, right? Like, make Team Liquid move around and really defend that mid lane while trying to pressure other points to spread them out. Then maybe 100 Thieves wins the fight.
I mean, it's package right now.
It's
and TP.
so interesting, right? You know, again, they're still at soul point, right? So Corki is here. Oh, they're separated.
100 Thieves are getting picked up heavily right now.
Watch TF, watch TF. He's
Plate
gonna look.
popped. TF walking up towards mid, and again, we've got about a minute on the inhibitor respawn.
He's
still going Nexus. Reveals them all. They gotta stop the ports. They gotta stop the ports. He's onto the base. Is it enough? When does the recall come in? Bjergsen has package. He's trying to get back in Game 5 of the winter bracket finals. 100 Thieves go for broke, and they're gonna break the Nexus. They break their ankles, and they're headed to the final.
A reverse sweep for 100 Thieves off the back door from Abadaga. They make the judgment call. We do not win 5v5, but you don't need to when the Nexus is open. Abadaga was topside that whole time, never intended to fight it at the Dragon. Gets the ulti into the base, finishes off the Nexus. What a comeback from 100 Thieves. If you watch those first two games, you would not believe how this series ended.
Game 1 was over in under 23 minutes. 22 and change, Nexus fell. Game 2, there was one stumble, but it was a 30-minute stomp. And then from there on out, 100 Thieves had their own stomps, they had their comebacks. True grit in the end. They are your first LCS finalists here in spring.
Never give up, right? Down 2-0. I mean, Abadaga, 259 CS at the end of that game. Bjergsen, 374. But who killed the Nexus? That's the important question. Who is able
Who got that 50 gold
to pull out that last hit on the Nexus? It's gotta feel good for 100 Thieves. You think back to last year, they were the ones that actually lost this game before getting revenge for the lower bracket. This time, they're the ones gonna be awaiting the victor of that loser's bracket final in the finals.
It's just such an exciting finish, and for TL, you've got to be kicking yourself. You know, should they not have left Bjergsen in base with package, wait for the inhib respawn? TL just didn't have the read that they were going to be going for the back door. Their read was they're going to 5v5, they're going to team fight it, and he spent his teleport to go to the fight with the package. You could just walk out of base, you know, with that package available, potentially TP back to defend, or stay in base until you see TF, then join the fight with TP. But, you know, 100 Thieves made the game plan, executed in those final moments, and these types of situations are so hard because you get so little practice. Like, tell me how many games you played out like this. It's 0, right? It's like...
Personally, about 5, actually.
You know, in scrims, right? Where it's like the exact situations, the exact comps where you have to really decide, you know, because TL is basically trying to think out the same thing that 100 Thieves is. They're trying to say, all right, does 100 Thieves think they win 5v5? Well, they just beat us in that one fight, so they probably do. So I think Bjergsen felt safe to actually go to his team, but...
Yeah, when they look back at this, they're easily going to say, Bjergsen can never leave the base. Right? They're just like, he has to sit there until the inhibitor responds.
TP and
because
wait.
what happened is they saw the Twisted Fate in top lane, pushed in, but he's TF man. Like 10 seconds later, he's in the Nexus.
Yep.
So it was definitely a
Wild.
good call by 100 Thieves, and I think a poor call by TL at the very end. But
Yeah.
that doesn't mean the series wasn't any less close.
I mean, the timers were so interesting because Dragon was spawning and it was going to be Soul, right? If you say, okay, we give up the map, we give you Soul.
That's bad too.
I know, right? So like, okay, that's an option, and you give up Soul for free, and that's the thing. The other side of it is Baron overlapped with Soul by like 30 seconds. So you're like, well, we can contest Soul, and we get a 4-second Baron recall. So like, as long as we see it coming, theoretically, we hopefully should be able to get someone back. Obviously, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
We didn't see like backwards package into recall to contest. Like, maybe there were micro things that could have gone on. But I understand the play of like, well, we actually get good recalls here. We can go for this line. Obviously, again, didn't work out. Hey, well done. But that was what it looked like there. Amazing match. All the same. The new gods of North America earned their place again in the grand final, and it's now time to hear from the Thieves themselves. So, rejoining Closer and Abadaga with Latagris in our Verizon postgame interview.
Decided.
What's up, everybody? Oh my gosh. It is so hard not to have such energy after the way this entire series went. So here, I've got to start actually from the end. I've got Abadaga, I've got Closer. So going with you, just walk me through. How did that all go down?
The end, we were like, let's make the map open, wide open, so that we can get either Soul or we pressure the back door. And then like, the situation started, and I thought it didn't look that good because I was far out of range. But then I was like, wait, they're 5 at Drake. They went there with Corki. Shen already ulted and can't like base anymore and match me. So I was like, what the fuck are they doing? Like, it made zero sense to me. And the moment I ulted in and started hitting, I knew it's won because they had no options anymore.
It felt like you were ready to keep hitting too, the way that you got up out of your seat afterwards, yeah?
Yeah.
Throw some punches?
For sure.
I mean, Closer, what did you think? Even going into this, he was talking about how it's going to come down to execution and team fights, and that last game was so tight all the way through.
I mean, to be honest, game 1 and 2, I don't know what we were doing, to be honest. Like, we just didn't play like human. To be honest, like when we went back, I just said, like, guys, we are not even playing the game. If we play, like, let's just play the game. So I think we started playing the game, and we won 3-0.
My bad.
In my opinion.
So then, Abadaga, was it Closer's words that reinvigorated you going into game 3, or was there something
I
else?
was just like, after game 2, I was going to the bathroom. I was like, oh fuck, man. But I really don't want to lose. And I know I like kind of played fucking shit like the first 2 games. So I was like, I gotta make up for it, and I don't want to leave the boys behind. So I gave it my best and tried to let them carry me. And then I played pretty well as well myself, which I'm proud of. That I was able to come back from the early rough ones.
Yeah, great decision making, great job holding it down.
Yeah.
I know in this budding rivalry between 100 Thieves and Team Liquid, one of the focal points is Closer and Santorin going at it. You brought the Viego out there. Was there any special feeling when facing off against him with that pick that you both have popped off on so many times?
Like, to be honest, game 1 and 2, I played Viego, and I was like, guys, like, we are not playing the game, and I'm not even getting to fights. So I'm like, just take me off this champion. And then I picked Jarvan, and then we won the game, and then they banned Jarvan. But we started playing the game good. So I'm like, give me Viego. And we did pretty well.
Made some changes through.
Yeah.
Overall, the win here, would you have preferred to be a clean 3-0, or did you like that it was a little bit of action all the way through?
I mean, I can't imagine a more satisfying scenario than this. Like, inting your ass off the first 2 games and then coming back with a 3-0 like that to like stomp the team that thought they are the best in the league.
Yeah. We have one more series.
So
Let's be humble.
Well, that's...
But we will make them humble in the end.
Is that you saying you think Team Liquid will be opposite of you in the championship finals? Or do you think somebody else?
I mean, last year when we played, they sent us to the Gulag, the lower bracket. And like, we were strong enough to come back and win it all. Let's see what they're going to do this time. But if they come back, it's not going to be like this. We are not starting 2-0 again.
A reversal of the fate from the last time you all played each other in playoffs. But you are the reigning champions. This time, though, it means you have earned a spot directly in the championship finals at the NRG Stadium. Very different from this vibe. So what are your thoughts on that, starting with you, Abadaga?
I'm very excited to play in front of the huge crowd and the stadium. It's going to be very exciting. I think whoever we will face, we're going to be humble and we we respect our opponents, and we're gonna have a good match.
Respectfully destroy them.
Is saying humble 3 times really being humble? I don't know.
We disrespect them respectfully.
I like that. And closer from you, last thoughts on going to the stage, Energy Stadium, fans out here multi-times over that will be before you in that setting.
I mean, it's gonna be crazy. Like it's just gonna be insane. I'm out of words. The energy is gonna be really different, and being able to lift the trophy in front of tens of thousands of people is gonna be crazy.
What about you? Any last thoughts to the fans in Houston that are waiting to see you for the crazy times that are ahead?
I feel like the series showed me some weaknesses that I have. I'm gonna work hard to perform better on that series. Yeah, I have no other words.
We dig it here at the LCS. Abadaga, closer, thank you so much for the interview.
See you guys there.
Congratulations again on the victory. We all enjoyed it tenfold, that is for sure.
Chiefs!
Bye.
More for us to cover, though, on this matchup. So let's head on over to the Bud Light breakdown.
Thank you very much, Tigers.
Oh my god.
That was great. And welcome to the Bud Light breakdown. In my opinion, over my 9-year history in the LCS, that is one of the best Game 5s we have ever seen in an LCS playoff. For 100 Thieves, just to bring the whole series to that point to begin with, but then to win in the fashion that they did, I'm so glad we got a little bit of insight into what the communication was down the line there, the home stretch, in terms of making the back door happen. But
the fact that they made it happen. There are so many other teams that would not make that play, right? Like that would make that. It's a very risky call to make, and it's so good. Like, I'm just so happy that they were that proactive in a position where, like, honestly, with this draft, I thought they were gonna hard lose.
They had to buy so much time by the end, right? Because it was the first rush to the Nexus that they ended up like dying on, but they had an open Nexus and they were aiming for it. They were consistently pinging it from that point. But TF was top lane, and then he made that trek over, so it was such a long trek. Let's go straight from this portion of the game, though.
Yeah, I mean, for the record, all of us watched Champion Select come through, and for the most part said, all right, this is a Team Liquid victory, as long as nothing goes horribly wrong. Then they start the game off in the way in which they do, which gives them a nice, secure lead within the game, and it feels like, okay, they've rebounded from that lack of momentum after losing 2 straight, and they're going to close it out. But 100 Thieves had something else to say.
Yeah, I want to call out Someday here, because one major thing that was buying them time in these team fights, in my opinion, is that Ornn. Like, he actually does a deceptively large amount of damage, and his target selection was great.
Now, Olive, when we're looking at this, again, in the position that we're at right now, this is obviously one of those big turning points where the fight goes relatively bad for Team Liquid as Bjergsen tries to salvage anything here on the way out and gets picked. But did you, like, when you looked at these team compositions and we look at these late game situations, like, you similarly don't see an opening like 100 Thieves does, right? In that they made the conscious choice to say, hey, we have to go into that kind of 4-1 situation to look for our win condition.
Well, the 2 big fights that went really poorly for TL were TL like over-indexing on like their engage. The first one was Bjergsen packaging in and not using his Valkyrie to get away immediately. And that ended up him getting just chain CC to death. And then in the top lane fight, I think they thought Abadaga was alone. So like they all like super jump onto him. So Zeri just gets to get 1,000,000 stacks for free. And I think 100 Thieves was like, they recognized that they shouldn't win team fights. So even though they had won their previous 2 team fights, they don't like go, okay, we can still win team fights. They try to look for the backdoor still. I think it's really smart. I think what Abadaga said in the interview was really enlightening, where he kind of just looked at what TL was doing, and when he saw all 5 people at Dragon, he kind of almost second-guessed himself, like, are they really all there? Like, do they really not think of this?
Right.
And like, he should just go into the base, and when that happens, it looks really dumb, but it's really hard to make that call in the moment because you have to respect your opponent.
Absolutely.
So something you said off camera was like, I don't understand why people don't just pink ward their base. As a player, why don't people pink ward their base?
Well, I think most people just don't think about it. You're not in that situation very often, but I always do it. Whenever
well, explain why, too, for people at home who might be like, why the heck would I place a ward in my own base?
So the reasoning is, if you're playing against a TF or something with a global that can jump into your base, TP can't be canceled by damage. So if
Only
you
by
find,
TC.
Yeah, so if you find like any area in a bush that you can just TP out of, even though you have Baron recall, that can get canceled by anyone. But you can just TP back and match it in a sense. TL didn't do that. They didn't have any worries about not doing it. Bjergsen even TP'd in. Not that he could have TP'd out because I think they were chasing him.
Right.
But I think, like, to me, that's always something that I'm thinking about when I'm against like a TF.
Yeah. But I think that's interesting, right? Because we have the benefit of being off the stage, watching the game with no pressure, right? And so it's very intriguing to me that one of the two teams here thought essentially of that win con, and it seems the other did not think about that final piece, that final step they might be able to take to subvert it. As you mentioned, he TP'd into the fight. It's not like the TP was going to be relevant in saving the base anyway. So it's a conversation, we're arguing peanuts there. Yeah. But it is a very interesting kind of anecdote to explain, again, the level of pressure that all 10 players are feeling up there.
The only thing I can think of that they didn't think it was possible was Bwipo pushed the TF really far down to their own side of the map. And my only guess, the only thing that makes sense to me is they just assumed he was too far. Like he just couldn't go to the Nexus, and they just miscalculated.
Exactly, just buying a lot of time in that fight while Twisted Fate made that trek. And just a reminder, like you talked about the pressure of being in that situation. Being in that situation, losing 2 games in a row, you feel like you should be winning team fights, but you just lost the last few because of individual errors. Like, there's a lot to think about in that moment. So for Team Liquid, they're for sure kicking themselves, and maybe a little tilted after like the last few games, the 2 games to get them in this position. So it's a tough one for them. I know they still are in that loser bracket run. So
yeah, it's gonna sting for sure. Yeah. Of course, having been in a winning position, literally staring down the barrel of a sweep. They almost took the whole series in 3-0 fashion to then get it run back. I love that you bring up the lower bracket run they might have to go on. We'll dive into it a little bit more in a bit, but we heard Closer already mention in the interview that last time around it was them who got knocked down in the lower bracket and had to come back to get their championship over TL, saying it won't go that way this time around if TL manages to make it back to the grand final.
The reasoning being is that, no, they'll be able to play the game.
Exactly. Just play the game. Guys, we're not playing the game.
They forgot.
We just got to play the game.
Just got to play the game.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, that's what it was. They found the team. They found the Smash setup. You called out Someday in that team fight there in game number 5, but we have to talk about Someday across the entire series because he is the one who picks up the top honors in Player of the Series.
Yeah, I mean, I think this was kind of a microcosm of Someday all year, right? Even when the rest of the team is kind of not finding their footing, he is such a constant presence up there. And he, like the caster said it, like he got the better of Bwipo today by a significant margin.
Raz, I'm looking at that central column right there. Yeah. 8.5% damage share, minus 26 CSD. And yet he still gets player of the game. And I think that is indicative of his ability as a player to fill so many different roles. Again, we talk about the versatility of Bwipo, as a top laner. I think you could say a similar thing about Someday, even if it comes in different forms. And for him to be able to absorb certain kinds of pressure and to be abused in certain situations, but still find a way to be useful in the mid to late game, it just continually fascinates me.
It's an incredible sense of resiliency that he has as a player when he's put in really tough positions. He had that last year. The thing that we respect him a lot more for is the fact that now he is flexible. That he's not doing this out of necessity. He's doing this, he's not doing this because of like, oh, this is all I can do. In the losing game that they had, he was incredible on his Tryndamere, right? And so it feels like 100 Thieves is so strong right now, not just because they have one of the best bot lanes in this league, one of the best junglers in this league, but now you look at the top laner, a lot of people are going to make this case, the best performing top laner in this league right now. Because regular season award and all that, with how Summit's been dominating, Summit's been a player that we're going to be talking about very soon.
Absolutely.
Tomorrow for damn sure. But Someday has been low-key grinding, rising up throughout the regular season to hit that all-pro, second team all-pro, and is performing in playoffs.
Yeah, Abadaga as well, stepping up behind them as well in the postseason. I'm going to get the bracket up on your screens, but I'm going to turn to Olive to ask this. How do you reflect on, again, the remaining teams? 100 Thieves, TL still in it, even though they fell down here. Let's talk about these two teams first as TL drops to the lower bracket. You come off of this series in TL's position. what are you identifying as the growth points, if anything, that this team needs to work on between now and next week to make sure they win that first best of 5 to re-challenge 100 Thieves?
Well, I think if I was in TL shoes, I would really feel like I threw this series.
Yeah.
Because we had a very strong first 2 games. I think the 3rd game was pretty well played by 100 Thieves.
Yeah.
But I think the 4th and 5th games you can really point to as question marks because they were in a very winning position in that Game 5. They should not really be losing any team fights at that point, and they lost 2 in a row. And I think in the Game 4, they were trying something in the draft, potentially something they've tried a lot in scrims and had a lot of success with. It didn't work, which happens, but it's something that you have to look back and go, okay, is this something we're going to do next time?
Yeah.
Because they probably felt they could because they were winning, but now it's going to be a point to look at.
That's got to be so hard to practice something X number of times, right, in scrims.
Yeah.
To bring it out on a stage once, right, it doesn't go well, and you have to make a determination off of a single stage performance about whether or not you're willing to try it again.
Yeah.
Do you have any anecdotal evidence of like, oh, there was this one time I played this champion, it did not go well, and we either decided never again, or we were like, yeah, let's try that one more time?
I have an excellent example, actually.
Okay.
Last year, I played Tom Kench mid, and I remember,
Yes!
I remember very clearly, I kept telling Anero, like, we need to play Tom Kench mid, I swear it's broken.
Yeah.
And the first game we played it, at 15 minutes, we're down like 5K. I'm like, oh, we're never playing this again. But we actually came back in that game, in the scrim, and won in like 20 minutes. And like, it was because of the Tom Kench. And I was like, guys, I knew it was broken. So we played it like a few more times. And I'm sure if we didn't do well in that game, like we wouldn't have thought it was good.
Right.
And then we only ended up stopped playing it once I lost in LCS.
Oh my
so
goodness.
There it is.
Love
it
that
was.
one. Couldn't have asked for a better example than that.
Yeah. We all remember the TK mid.
That was a fun.
That's brilliant. All right, so real quickly before we go, of course, we're back again tomorrow for another series, Cloud9 versus Evil Geniuses, to see who gets to move on to face TL in that lower bracket final. This is an elimination match. Only one goes to Houston. Only one keeps their hopes of hoisting the trophy alive. I'm coming right back to you because we won't have you here tomorrow. So Cloud9, EG, where are you on this matchup?
It's definitely hard for me to put, especially now that 100 Thieves won. If TL had 3-0'd, I would have been a lot more EG favored, but I do think EG will still take it. I think it will be close, though, because I think C9 looked a lot different against us, because we're really good, so C9 has to win, because we're the second best team.
Of course. Wait, so Cloud9 then is going to win?
Yeah.
Of course.
But I think, to be honest, I think EG will still take it. I think C9 did look a lot better. I think they played a lot better against us than they did against 100 Thieves. And I think they specifically figured out how to deal with like the Jace Nar bans. It didn't work when we tried it against them. It worked when 100 Thieves did. So I think EG will probably have their own strategy, but I think there's not like a clear path like, oh, you just do this and you just win. So
yeah, I think the key to that series, I know a lot of people are going to be looking at Summit. For me, it's going to be Berserker. Because Berserker bot lane in that series in which they lost was still performing well and had moments that made you remember, oh, like he's really damn good, especially on that Zeri. So if C9 are going to be playing at least the first 10 minutes of the game reserved, so we don't get the Summit incident again, that's where I believe Evil Geniuses will be hurting the most.
Okay, and Emily, final thoughts on that series tomorrow?
I'll save it for tomorrow.
Oh, there you go. Hey.
You gotta tune in.
That's a teaser if I've ever heard one.
Maybe I should have tomorrow.
Emily's pretty smart, so you want to hear smart things, go back tomorrow and listen to her say smart things. Ablal, thank you so much for joining us, man. It's always a pleasure. I'm glad that the teams are able to deliver 5 full games for you as well.
thank you for having me. It was a blast.
Always a pleasure here. You're welcome back anytime, my friend. But actually, I'd rather see you, though, out there playing.
Thank you.
I will make that deal instead.
Yeah, that's better.
All right.
That sounds like a better deal.
Sounds good. For those of you, or for the rest of you, that's going to be it for us today. So on behalf of myself, the casters, and the entire broadcast crew, thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you tomorrow for more LCS. Until then, stay healthy, stay safe, and be good to each other. Good night.
I'm gonna pen it through.
Oh!
Whoa!
That was close.
That was close.
Your first try.
This is going to be a banger, a barn burner, a slobber knocker. Quick, what you got?
Real humdinger.
Or slaughter. Like one,
Yes.
one of them. Like it could be any of the above.
You're just like, dunk comes through for who he's going to try. FBI still firing, but down goes 1, down goes 2, down goes 3, and 4, and 5. Everyone's gone. A quadra kill for Hansama. And now Aatrox maybe left out to drive. Whippo, will he fall? 2 picked up, 100 Thieves, and it's gonna be Hansama running away. But the chase is in for the Vex. Babadaga, he's getting kited. Oh, Hansama!
Yeah, I'm going Vex. They're all dead, we end.
Quadra kill.
Yeah. Penta!
No flash, nice.
Is that a pincer? Good fight setup, guys.
Another quadra?
Hans, you gotta get better kills, man.
Oh, guys.
Well, it's gonna be a whole lot of fun. Here we go. Game 3, is it enough? 100 Thieves in TL. Make or break.
No, Jay's dying.
I'm fine. I'm joining. Keep back. I'm coming back.
Early. Look! Nice!
Okay.
I'm gonna find the knockup out of someday. There's a double shot into Shockwave. That was beautiful by Closer. And it's gonna mean everything. The dunk comes in late. They find number 4.
Get this man some flip-flops.
Like,
He's
I
wearing the
gotta have
wrong
to.
shoes.
Yep. I'm gonna kick these shoes off.
Kick them off.
It's gone.
Oh, God.
Oh,
wow.
damn. Oh! They're gonna walk back. Health bar's low. Teal don't have a backline anymore. Who he gonna stop? Punch, get out. There's the flash engage. And here comes the slaughter. I can hear the sound of Team Liquid falling in 100 Thieves triumphant here in Game 4. Horn comes across onto 3. They're going for more. Who he wants Hansama. And they've knocked down Core. 100 Thieves 1 for 0. Sunday finds a second. They got 3. They're getting 4. 100 Thieves come alive. And Bjergsen's left alone. Bjergsen's left to die. 100 Thieves crush Team Liquid. They gotta stop the ports. He's onto the base. Is it enough? When does the recall come in? Bjergsen has package. He's trying to get back in Game 5 of the winter bracket finals. 100 Thieves go for broke, and they're gonna break the Nexus. They break their ankles, and they're headed to the final.